want in the hours that we are together today to help you come to the place where you know for sure that life is supposed to be really, really good for you, where you discover some ways of being more and more and more and more satisfied about more and more and more and more things. And we don't want you to be taking score. We're not going to lay out for you all the wonderful things that are happening for Esther against this suitcase curse that she's got going on. But we want you to understand that all of you are living those kinds of things where you were touched by something earlier on, where you're carrying forward some patterns of thought that are not serving you well. And we want you to understand that you could find that across the board and you could do something about it as you meditate and quiet your mind and find yourself in a place of non-resistance more and more and more and more and more. We don't want you to stop living life. We want you to be out there, and we want life to come to you as you have vibrationally prepared it to come to you. We think it is a wonderful thing when something wonderful happens and you say, I did that. I recognize the pattern. I witnessed the unfolding of me in the unfolding of that. But we also want you to notice that when something is happening that you don't like, that you're able to say, I did that too. I take complete credit. We didn't say responsibility because everything that comes is good. I take complete credit for the unfolding of my life and for each and every detail that I get to tweak and mold into the satisfying perfection of my life experience. And once you get the hang of this, you'll bless every wheel that falls off everything, because it's just an indicator to let you know that you had some resistance about something. Now, if you go back far enough, everything has a root. What vibrational basis would cause her suitcases to be falling apart? Could it be an awareness that she's moving about quite a bit? Her awareness that there are a lot of moving parts in all of that? There's always some vibrational basis that is active within you that you've got to find some way of resolving, because if you don't, it will manifest. Esther might like it if she could just sit in some beautiful place that she likes to be, and you would just all come there to see her. But she knows that it is your path of lesser resistance. If she comes here, it's a few airplane tickets, but all of these people are on an airplane every week, and sometimes it's sort of a long day getting there. And so there's this feeling of less satisfaction, but that's the key. You've got to find a way to find satisfaction as you are moving through whatever it is you're moving through. And then everything that you're moving through in the absence of resistance becomes the blissful now reality. Does it really matter where you are standing or what you are doing if in the middle of all of that you are blissful? Does it really matter what state or what country or what place or what airplane or what vehicle or what seashore that you are standing on if you are feeling satisfaction? And that's the thing that we want you to come to as we are playing together today. There is the possibility, there is a powerful probability, it is for certain that you can reach the place where you can stand anywhere at any time and be so in sync with the perfect evolution and unfolding of your experience that satisfaction can be your dominant experience. And when it is, everything that you live will reflect it. And when it isn't, oh good, something to focus upon. One day years ago, Esther was dusting an etagere in their house. Several glass shelves, some of them very tall, and each glass shelf containing beautiful crystals and artifacts and pieces of art that they'd collected from here and there and here and there and here and there. It was a treasure trove of beautiful and really expensive, really lovely things. And this new shelf had little pins that the glass was sitting on, and each time they'd been dusted, the shelf was moving a little, and Esther didn't realize it as she put her cloth up on an upper shelf, and that shelf fell down on this shelf and this shelf and this shelf and this shelf, and everything came crashing down. Jerry was in the other room. He could hear the velocity of the glass. There were shards of glass from these very thick shelves that were actually sticking in the wooden floor. Esther was standing there in her bare feet, untouched by any of it. And Jerry called from the other room, "Stand still, don't move." And he came in and he said, "Oh, good, something to want." And that's how we want you to feel about anything that is what you would call negative in your awareness. In other words, oh good, something to clean up. Oh good, something to dilute with pure positive energy. Oh good, something to find a better feeling way about. Because as little by little you find ways to focus upon things that you have been practicing pushing against, you will eventually relieve yourself of the resistance that is bogging you down. And we don't just mean the resistance that's bogging you down and keeping you from manifesting the things that you want. In other words, slowing you down and making it a longer gap between where you are now and the unfolding of what you want. We mean satisfied, 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 satisfied. We mean living happily ever after. We mean standing in a place where you get to witness the universal forces. You've got the energy that creates worlds at your fingertips flowing through you, at your mind tips flowing through you. And you are supposed to feel good. You are worthy beings who are here with reason and purpose. You're not here being tested. It's not your job to prove worthiness. There's no one asking for your worthiness because you are seen by non-physical as worthy. You are here to explore and to decide and to define what you want and to create a vibrational reality that all that is gathering cooperative components for you. And when you come into the mindset that allows yourself to be the receiver, the perceiver, the impulser, the one who receives the impulse and follows it and then gets to witness the result of that powerful positive impulse, then and only then are you satisfied in your life experience. When someone else sees you in need of something and gives it to you, you might like it for a minute, but the true satisfaction comes from your alignment and your reception of who you are, your reception of what you've created, your reception of the influx of this pure positive energy, your attunement to the whole of who you are, your receiving of the whole of who you are. You're following your own guidance to the things that you have carved out. Because we are all in this together, you see. Your inner being and you dancing merrily along your paths. Toward what end? Toward no end. Toward what purpose? Toward the purpose of never-ending, eternal awareness of joy. So, what do you want to talk about? Nothing is off limits. We're happy to visit with you about anything that matters. We're going to have a wonderful day here together.
Just trying to process this just one step further, a lot of great things started happening to me like around the time that my grandfather died. And my grandfather, he used to carry around $100 bills. And when I was like 5, 6, 7, he used to just give them to me. And then when he died, it's like he opened up this channel where I could like ask for things. And when he died, I would ask him for money, like large sums of money, like way more than I could even comprehend. And he would give me like 2 or 3 or 4 more. Is he doing that? Or am I like, in other words, is he just inserting his will into my experience despite myself?
He is not creating in your reality, nor is he the vortex through which all of your well-being comes. But your attention to him and the prosperity that he demonstrated puts you in a vibrational place where you allow in a stronger way when you focus upon him than you usually do. Isn't that nice to know? And he never stops focusing upon you. But he cannot impose his desire upon you. He just blends with your desire, knows so clearly who you are, never stops focusing it and knowing it, and sometimes you're more likely to let it in than others, you see.
So is that real? Is it really him? He's really focused on me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
One of the nicest things is when someone that has your attention makes their transition into non-physical, because your attention upon them is strong. And now they're in a different vantage point where there's no resistance there and focused upon you. And sometimes you hear it and sometimes you don't. When you sat down, you said, I'm not psychic, but you are. You said, but I'm not psychic, but I could feel Jerry. Well, you did. And so sometimes you get more emphatic glimpses of that than others. But always, 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 your dearly departed that are not so departed, who are still interested about you, are flooding their knowledge. Where you are and what you're interested in, they are often very interested in too, because there is this eternalness about life experience. And so there is not a separation between the physical and the non-physical that some people think that there is. But even though they are interested and they still want you to create your own reality, not one of them is ever saying, I need you to go do this, and you should go do this, and go do this, and you need to do this. There's an interpretation that sometimes feels like that, but they are knowing about your ability to create your own reality. And so they're rooting for you, and they might be looking forward to the thing that's the next logical step for you to discover and for you to allow. While it may seem to you, and it may even have been satisfying to hold out your hand and have this lovely man put $100 in your hand. Esther does it with all the little kids she knows too. And it kind of makes them stand around like this a lot. But it's receptive mode to something different than the receptive mode she wants them to be receptive to. Because you could receive $100 bills like that, but the true satisfaction comes when through life you have done your asking, and now you're in the receptive mode, and the entire universe is yielding to you in ways that you just cannot even imagine. And that is what your grandfather wants you to know. He is not the vortex through which your well-being flows, but he's an example of well-being flowing through a vortex, but it is endless, and you know that. He wouldn't want you to think that every thought you think is his thought, because it isn't. He wants you to know that when you find the receptive mode on any subject, there is so much help there for you. Not because you need it, but because we are all in this together. We are all in this together.
That's awesome.